Hey, y'all. This is Frank the Bigfoot, and you're listening to the Paranormal Punchers.
Hello, and welcome to Paranormal Punchers.
Hello.
Hello.
I'm Mark.
I'm Alicia.
I'm Nash.
I'm Dave.
Yay! The gang's all here. And I guess that's it. So we're very talkative.
Yep.
That's because we just spent like an hour sipping a beverage talking about D&D scenarios for our holiday or a winter day, one day adventure we're going to try to create and see who survives it.
Our Festivus Day adventure.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's what we're going to call it, Festivus. And they get sued by Seinfeld.
That's right. That's right.
Oh, man, this should be fun. We're going to talk about the Bender family, the Bloody Benders.
Yeah.
This was a topic idea from our listener, Drew. Greatly appreciate the idea. I know you probably suggested this like a year ago, and we're finally getting around to it.
Yeah.
That's what alcohol does. It slows the progress down just a little bit.
All right, Nash. Before we get there, we're going to jump into some listener feedback brought to you by Living Among Bigfoot, the only book series that drops the 15th of every month on Amazon. And it's about Bigfoot. And as we say around here,
It's good.
all right, let's kick things off with this beautiful review here on Apple Podcast. This 1 star.
1 star.
Yeah, from Brady949. If you wait, the subject, the host enjoy this more than the audience. If you enjoy a group of people laughing at their own jokes for an hour, then this is the podcast for you. Very disappointing. First off, I'd like the show is more of an hour and 10 minutes. Right. So, wow. I mean, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, if we're not having fun, then what's the point?
Yeah. This one kind of got to me. Like, I try not to let any negative reviews, like, maybe there's something to be learned from it. But this one, it's like, why would I want to listen to a podcast where the hosts don't want to be there?
Yeah, where they don't like hanging out with each other.
I don't
Yeah,
know.
how kind of show would that be?
I don't get what this was trying to say. I mean, I get it.
Yeah.
If you don't like our jokes, then
Sorry.
that's
Maybe it's not for you.
But don't say that we shouldn't enjoy doing what we're doing. I mean,
Right.
Right.
Well, I, for one, enjoy laughing.
True story.
And I think I'm going to continue to laugh. But Brady949. Hey, thanks for giving us a shot.
Yeah.
Sorry we were not your cup of tea.
Right.
I would say keep listening, and we will grow on you like a fungus.
yeah,
And then you can't get rid of us, and then before you know it, you're a fan.
right.
Right. Exactly.
I would like to know what episode was listened to for
I
that
know.
opinion. Was it a bad episode? Was it I don't know, like, was it 1?
well,
Was it 10? Yeah.
I always say that the Shag Harbor episode is that one. If that's the first one you listen to, you will absolutely hate us.
Yeah.
We were just, that was just we were all over the place.
Hodgepodge
Yeah.
of opinions.
So if that's the one Brady turned into,
I know.
yeah,
Okay.
maybe he did.
Yeah.
Yeah, could be. But that reminds me, if you listen to us and like us, hey, go over to Apple Podcast and actually leave a positive review.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. That's right.
Stop your laughing.
Just
All right.
to say that people out there like it just as much as we do.
Yeah. I love being on the show with you guys.
Yeah.
If there's only 4 people listening, us,
Us four.
then that's pretty cool.
That's all right.
But we heard from Candace and some other people in our Facebook group, and they disagree.
Yeah.
So, hey, you're all awesome. We heard from Larry G. I absolutely love these guys. See how I followed up that one with Larry G's
Nice.
comment?
And on an up note, that's
Yeah.
good.
They gave a fun romp through the paranormal and the conspiracy theories that are floating about. Mm-hmm. Go Team Pudding Skin.
That's right. FTW.
And he also emailed, hey, guys, I was listening to your Halloween podcast over here in Ambridge, Pennsylvania, and heard you starting to discuss fairies and the fae. I would love to hear you all take a little dive into that world. Some basic information that I'd love to give you is that tends to be more Celtic mythology. They have a large part to do with strange customs such as leaving a bowl of milk and a crust of bread on the back doorstep for brownies. Yeah. Oh, and here, there's also stories of Rawhead and Bloody Bones, a monster who loved children and supposedly taught good children to swim, but would also punish those who didn't listen to their parents.
Is Rawhead and Bloody Bones, is that the name of the monster?
Yeah.
Or is that like two monsters?
I don't know. Rawhead and Bloody Bones.
Or is that like an affliction?
I don't know. But I've never heard of a monster teaching kids to swim. So, yeah.
Interesting. Yeah.
But he says it's kind of a broad subject, but I think it would be great to hear your take on it. Keep up the great work. I re-listen to your episodes all the time at work.
Oh, wow.
Thanks, Larry.
Thank you.
Real quick, just quick search.
Yeah.
Bloody Bones is a boogeyman figure feared by children, sometimes called Rawhead, Tommy Rawhead, and Bloody Bones. So, single name.
There you go.
I like it.
Okay.
I feel like we got to explore that.
Yeah.
But does he teach his kids how to swim?
I'm not.
Only the good kids.
That's really helpful. Mm-hmm. Wow. I wonder if he is sink or swim. I wonder if you sink.
Wait, nobody laugh at that.
Nobody laugh. Nobody laugh. Nobody laugh.
We heard from John. Hey, guys. Hope you're all doing great. I wanted to write in from my misty English village once again with a scenario question for y'all. If you remember John, he's from that village that only appears every couple hundred years in the mist.
That's right.
Okay, so here's the scenario question. There you are, watching the TV, when suddenly the broadcast is interrupted by a breaking news update. A cryptid/paranormal entity has been confirmed by science and is now proven to be 100% real beyond any doubt. At the same time, another cryptid/entity has been proven not to exist beyond any doubt. If you had to pick, which of the following would you prefer to be proven real, and which would you prefer to be proven false? The remaining third option would forever exist in a state of uncertainty, neither able to be proved or disproved. And our options are Bigfoot, aliens, ghosts.
Oh, that's tough.
Who wants to start? Okay, everybody's looking at each other, but everybody's afraid to jump in.
Well, we're all thinking, you know.
So we have proven 100% to exist, proven it does not exist, and third, forever to be in a state of we don't know.
I think, the aliens and ghosts make that really difficult because the implications of that
are huge.
Yes, that if aliens are proven or disproven, that means there is or not life out there. If ghosts are proven or not proven, that means there's life after death or not. Like, those two things are huge.
What about Bigfoot?
So I kind of feel like Bigfoot then, as much as from the side of me that's just, the sentimental side, I want Bigfoot to be proven real. But I feel like of those other two choices, they're too monumental. Bigfoot has to be what's proven false just to keep the hope alive of one of those other two. And I'd probably say I'd want to know aliens as the proven.
Okay.
Nash, what about you?
I'm gonna side also with aliens, saying the one to be proven to found existing. I'm gonna say ghosts to. Let me think. Ghosts to not be proven, to be proven fake, and then Bigfoot to be kind of in the middle. And the only reason I do that is because if it's aliens, we don't know where the aliens are coming from, and that could aliens, the way I view their experiences and how they deal with us, could be both explained as physical manifestations of an alien on the planet or as
Bigfoot.
an entity coming down or spectral or ghost, and that's how they communicate with us. That they're all that both ghosts and aliens could be in the same category.
Okay.
Yep.
Ghosts could be from another dimension.
That's correct.
And we just perceive them
as ghosts.
as it has to be Okay. Lish, what about you?
Well, so Bigfoot, if he is real, I don't think he's necessarily a kindred spirit. I feel like he's probably
popping heads off dogs and stuff.
Yeah, pretty much. And then same
Why
with
is it got to be dogs, bro?
Yeah, because they're outside sometimes.
it could be humans too. But
Wow, that's hardcore.
I know. I'm just saying, like, I don't think he's actually a nice guy. And then aliens, for the most part, if they're true, I don't think they're going to be coming down here being kindred spirits as well. You know what I mean? I don't think. So trying to decide which one of those I want to be true and which one would be false. I would say maybe the ghosts, I want it to be true. The aliens, false. And then up in the air, Bigfoot. So we don't know.
Okay. Mark?
Good answer. Yeah. But I would like to say this is a trick question because aliens are real. We already have proof. Bigfoot is real. And ghosts are real.
Okay. Yep.
But they could all be aliens, though.
Oh, man,
They could all be aliens.
if I really had to like go and answer this question here, honestly, and not as a joke that I laugh at. Hey, thanks, Dave. Yeah. Just calling that back.
Right.
I'll probably do that all the entire episode. Man, 100% beyond a shadow of a doubt. Obviously, aliens, but I feel like it's there, but people are too absorbed in their devices to look up and realize that the news already reported on this.
Right.
Yeah.
With proven completely false 100%. I know Frank's going to come in and punch me in the back of the head, but Bigfoot.
Yeah.
Because I feel like, I don't know, I feel like some of the experiences we had on our little adventures, in Gettysburg, something was there and weird that I can't explain. So I'll go with aliens 100%, ghosts in the middle. We're like, we don't know. And unfortunately, Bigfoot, not real.
Okay.
I heard that. Hey, that actually hurt, John. That hurt a little bit to have to answer, dude.
Hurt your soul a little bit. Wow.
John, thank you so much. I hope you're doing well over there. Yep. And hey, if you got any more fun questions like that, please send them.
Yeah,
That
that was cool. I like that.
And he wraps up here. As always, keep up the fantastic work. Your podcast never fails to keep me entertained. And I eagerly look forward to each new episode. Thanks, dude.
Thank you.
We heard from Andy. It's an interesting topic with multiple possibilities because there are sightings of similar sea serpents all over the world with their own local lures. That was a post you had posted about more sightings of the Loch Ness Monster.
Yeah, this year has been the most sightings ever of like in 1 year, which is crazy. I think they're up to like 16, I think, just for this year.
I wonder if they're breeding.
I don't know.
But Andy continues, Pressy of Lake Superior, TD in Pennsylvania, with a question mark, she wasn't sure about the name, and 2 other lochs in Scotland have monsters in different names. I would love to hear you guys discuss the topic of these freshwater sea serpents.
Yeah.
There's a lot of them out there. There really are.
Thanks, Andy. Yeah, I feel like, I don't know why the Loch Ness Monster has never been on our list.
I have it on our list.
Oh, okay, it is on
Maybe
our list.
not the Loch Ness Monster. I have, God, what is the Pennsylvania one?
Well, we got Ray and Racetown Lake.
Yeah, Racetown Lake.
There's
I think I have
the
him.
Lake Champlain.
Oh, Champy. I have
Champy.
Champy on there.
Champy.
That's
Yeah.
not Pennsylvania. That's New
No,
York.
that's New York.
Is there something in Lake Erie?
Oh, I'm sure there is.
There's a Ray in
Yeah.
Racetown Lake.
Yeah.
I've gone swimming in that lake. I don't. Oh,
Yeah,
It's a man-made lake. How great
I
get
know.
in there?
I know.
Come on.
Yeah.
Unless he can walk on 2 legs.
yeah. You never know.
Andy, great to hear from you. we'll add that to the list. And it would take approximately 1 year to get to that topic idea.
Yeah, exactly.
But thank you. As always, thank you. Let's see. Wrapping it up here, we heard on Twitter.
Where?
Twitter. We heard from Vienna. They say, I know they follow their followers back, but my favorite podcast follows me on Twitter. They are so cool. Vienna, thank you, number one, for listening. That makes you super cool. Yeah, we follow everybody, but it's like we like to share the love.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
But you're awesome for listening to us. Thank you so very much, and I hope you're doing all right. We heard from Miss ZKS Designs. She did an incredible kick-ass drawing here of a Wendigo. She said her favorite podcast, Paranormal Punchers, is what inspired her. Love to listen to you guys while I draw. Thank you so much for helping inspire me with this piece. Thank you for listening to the show.
Thank you.
Your art is incredible. I love it. And just throwing it out there, if you would like to do an exclusive drawing for Paranormal Punchers that we'll put on a T-shirt
Oh, man.
in our T-Public store, let me know.
yeah.
I'm not asking you to do it for free. I will pay your commission fee for that. But I like your drawing and your style, so
Keep it up.
DM us.
Yeah.
All right, and I want to wrap it up here. We heard from SSPR and one, I think.
Is that the whole thing? And one, I think? Is that in it?
Is it an I?
Might be an I.
Yeah. At P Punchers. Hey, so if your hair keeps it away, this is in reference to Nash's theory.
Yeah. I'm with you.
Why not just leave the hair on your body? Then it should.
You should, repel.
Right.
Yeah.
What happens if you run into it after shaving off all your hair? Then this is a. If
You're
anybody is-
SOL.
just a thought, maybe. Love your show. No doubt, top of my list. Love it.
Aw.
So what I'm thinking is that we should, the four of us, we should all go shave completely bald and go hiking in the woods and give it a try.
That is exactly what a serial killer says to people before. What are you talking about?
What are you talking about? Well, they do. They keep deer away. Because they can smell it. That's why you don't get a lot of animals around you when you're camping, because they can smell you. You're upwind, you're downwind. They can smell your odors. So that's why if the odor is in the hair, you can put it around the camp, and it keeps the animals away.
Now,
Definitely.
for anybody who didn't catch that, it was at the John Olson when he was talking about Bigfoot stories.
Yeah.
Nash thought if you pee all around your campsite, shave your body hair, and sprinkle that in your pee, Bigfoot will be like, nope.
He'll know. He'll
But
smell it.
and SSPR and I, Ryan, what's up, dude? That's his name, Ryan. Wait, does that mean if you don't shave and then pee on yourself to boot, your theory still stands?
I would still pee on the outside, but if you don't shave yourself, he's not going to really come around you because he can smell you. They know we're there before we know that they're there. How do they do that?
Honestly, if this even took place, you'd be arrested in a heartbeat. The forest rangers would descend on you with billy clubs.
I think you're probably right. Probably right. Why is this completely bald guy out here? This is amazing.
We're laughing.
That's right.
Yeah.
Thank you, everybody. If you want to interact with us, leave us a message, whatever, paranormalpunchers.com. Find all the information, all the different avenues to hit us up. Thank you so very much. Mm-hmm. Now, we have 2 listener stories that obviously I'm saving for the second half. So, without further ado, let's jump into the main topic, as I said, suggested by Drew probably so long ago. Right. We're going to talk about the Bender family, the Bloody Benders. Lish, as usual, take it away.
Okay. So, the Bloody Benders. It is considered the greatest unsolved mystery of the Old West. This happened in Cherryvale, Kansas in the 1870s.
Oh, and to interject, Lish almost knocked your glass of wine.
Almost saw it. A catastrophic fail.
Fun fact, for Christmas last year, I got her a wine. It's basically a sippy cup for an adult.
Yep.
So even if she would have knocked her wine glass off, it is protected.
It is protected.
I wanted to interject quick and say, we usually talk about a lot of paranormal things. This is a true crime, unsolved true crime, but we thought it'd be fun. Well, because Drew recommended it. So, sorry. Go.
So, in the 1870s, there were 5 families of spiritualists, because around that time is when the spiritualist movement was happening in this country. So, like, it was a big thing for people to say that they're mediums or they can communicate with spirits and stuff like that. But 5 families of spiritualists settled in Cherryvale, Kansas. Sorry. One of these families was the Benders, and it was comprised of John Bender, or Pa, his wife Almira, Ma, their son John Jr., and their daughter Kate.
Now, John Jr., he was known to be very odd and always kind of just laughing at things. So a lot of people thought he was just not right in the head.
Like,
Laughing at his own jokes.
Yeah.
Laughing at his own jokes. And Kate was
Shaving his body completely bald and running around
beautiful.
the forest.
Yeah, she was the friendliest of the bunch. She spoke good English with a slight accent, but she was quick to laugh, but talked to strangers. She was a self-proclaimed healer and psychic. She also gave lectures on spiritualism and did like seances with the community and everything. Yeah. She also claimed to possess psychic powers, including the ability to communicate with the dead. Now, John Pa Bender. Pa. He was pretty tall, but he spoke with such a thick accent that nobody could really understand him.
Yeah, was it a German accent?
Yeah.
Was that, were they descendants?
Yeah, it was either Germany or Holland. They're not really sure where he came from.
Kate's the one who spoke English like the best.
Yeah, she was the best. And then Ma Bender. She had a really thick accent as well, but she was heavyset, very unfriendly, had sinister eyes, and a lot of the neighbors actually called her a she-devil. Yeah,
wow. I read that when they're describing the Benders, that when they get the mall, they're like, she was not very good looking.
No.
And mean.
Yeah.
She was mean.
Yeah, raw-boned is what I have in my...
Raw-boned?
Raw-boned. So I don't know what that means, personally, but she also claimed to be a medium, and she could speak with the dead. But she also dealt with a lot of like herbs and spices and stuff like that. And she declared that they could be used to cast charms or wicked spells.
So she was like almost Wiccan, almost kind of a thing.
Yeah,
she was...
Wiccan, no, wicked. Yeah, no, I don't think she was claiming. I feel that because spiritualism, this is a big thing at the time.
Yeah.
They jumped on the bandwagon. They were completely 100% full of crap.
Yeah.
But even, you had a lot of, in the old West there, you had these guys with their little wagons and they had their medicinal.
Yeah, the snake oil salesman.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Dave's liquor will make you thicker.
That's the worst thing. That's the worst thing you could ever be.
But that's true.
That was the best I could do. But you had all these guys selling their snake oil. It didn't do anything, but they would convince people. I got the sense that they were 100% only out to make a buck.
Oh, yeah.
And they did not,
So when they settled in this area, they built a small one-room cabin, a barn, a corral, and they dug a well. So it was very small property. But inside the cabin, they partitioned it with like a canvas. So they had like one part was the living quarters, and then in the front, they set up a store, and an inn. So like that travelers could go get some stuff from them, and then also stay there if they needed to.
Right, and this is he bought Paul Paul Bender, he bought like 160 acres out here.
Okay.
And they built this cabin, but they also built it off the trail that people were taking to head out west was the Osage Trail. Osage.
I don't know how to say
I definitely
it.
mispronounced it, but Osage. Osage. I think you're right, Alicia.
Okay.
But they built it back off, so you really couldn't see it clearly from the road, from the main trail. So, I'm sure they had some signs up, but people had to go off the trail.
So it wasn't like heavily trafficked.
Well,
it was people who were only really determined
so
to get
this
there.
is like they call it, it was the Bender Tavern. If this was like a stop on this trail,
like the
Right.
last stop for the
weary
next
travelers,
Yeah, last stop for
you think
20
you'd want
miles
to
or
put it
something.
right up front and center, so people are like, ooh, a diner, and they pull in instead of, I'll go back this
Right.
path to this
Yeah.
cabin that these people built. Sounds legit.
So, yeah, a lot of travelers actually would stop there for a meal and supplies. Some would stay there as well. And some of these men, these people, these travelers, they did carry some large sums of like cash, money, with the intention of settling, buying stock, purchasing a claim. But a lot of them started going missing.
Real quick, I
Yes.
just want to interject.
Sure.
That one of the things that I saw, Kate was very big into advocating the topic of free love.
Yes.
And that gained a lot of popularity for the inn.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yes.
Gotcha.
Might be a reason why people went down the trail.
Right.
They had no problem.
But when friends and family began to look for some of these missing people, they could trace them as far as like southeast Kansas, and then they couldn't find a trace of them at all. So I feel like at that point, there was quite a few like rumors going around. The townsfolk were kind of concerned because the travelers were definitely avoiding coming down this way because something was happening to them and they didn't know what it was. So they ended up, that community ended up having like a meeting with the entire townsfolk. Everybody showed up, about 75 people, including the Bendermen. They discussed that there was like 10 people that were reported missing. And they were like, oh, we're thinking that maybe we're just going to go to each homestead and just look at your property, make sure everything's cool. Everybody in the town agreed, like, sure, come to our place, look at it, except for the Bendermen. They were the only ones that were like, nope, you're not coming to our place. After this meeting, I think it was like a couple days or whatever, people realized that the Benders were gone. Their entire property, like they took all their personal possessions and they left at that
You just
point.
ghosted the whole place.
Yes.
Right. But because there's a reason. Now, I would like to leave that hanging because what happened after and what they found is interesting. But let's go back to what was happening.
Okay.
Why people were becoming suspicious. So you mentioned that they built this house and they partitioned half of it with a curtain, essentially, canvas curtain. They lived on one half, and the other half they set up to be this little tavern, this little inn. So they would have travelers come in, and so Kate was definitely the ringleader, in my opinion.
Yeah.
She was the one who. So when these people come in, she could tell based on their clothing, things like that, if they had money.
Okay.
And these were what eventually became targets.
They're her marks.
Marks.
Yeah.
And when she would identify a mark, she'd give a little signal, and then her dad would pull back the curtain because she would always seat them with their back to this curtain. Now,
Right.
as Jason Bourne would never happen to Jason Bourne. 'Cause-
Right.
and then he would pull the curtain back, hit them with a hammer, knock them unconscious. She'd grab them and with a knife and cut their throat.
Yeah.
Yep.
And they actually even had a code of who they would kill because they'd take all the money. They'd rob it blind. They built. I'm getting ahead of myself because they planned this out. they dug a hole in the kitchen.
That's what I was just going to say.
Put a trap door.
There's a
So
trap
once they did
door.
the killing, they could dump the body in that trap door.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, yeah. You want to jump in, Nash?
No, I was just, they built the trap door, and that was like, they would rob him, take all the money, and then shoot him through the trap door, close the trap door, because who knows, someone else is coming, and then, what was it, John and Paul would take care of the body, and Ma take care of the body?
Yeah, they'd make, when they robbed it, got all the money, cleaned up the house, they were, in the meantime, John Jr. was digging a hole.
Yeah.
And when he had the hole dug, they go fetch the body from the trapdoor thing.
And just drag her in and throw him in the hole.
Now, some people would come in here and they would refuse to sit where Kate was telling them.
Yeah.
Which would send Kate and even Ma would get mad and toss them out. But, you know, some people walked in and were like, yeah, no, I'm definitely not sitting with my back to that curtain.
Right.
And they would toss them out.
Well, and I would think that because of the length of time that the Benders were doing this, that there had to be people that came to this inn who didn't get killed.
Oh, yeah.
You know, that they were able to be like, okay, well, no, it's only certain types of people, maybe if they were men with money
There you
or
go. And single.
Yeah.
in single.
Because if you didn't have a wife and family looking for you, it would be longer until somebody started saying, hey, I thought he should have been here a couple weeks ago.
Right, and she now wasn't it Kate, because she was always like flirting with the guys, and she had something about her wearing loose clothes and her shirt was open and the whole 9 yards. Yeah, and she would kind of lure them in. So no husband and wife, no families, anything like that.
Yeah, there was a couple people actually that they considered it a close call, but there was one guy that he wouldn't sit at the canvas because it had stains on it, and he was like, "No, I'm not sitting with my back to it."
Jason Bourne himself out of that one.
That guy said that Kate actually threatened him with a knife, and at that point, that's when he fled the premises. And then there was a Catholic priest that said he also fled because he saw one of the Bendermen concealing a large hammer, which was one of their weapons of choice.
Right, yeah. The bludgeon him, knock him unconscious, Kate would finish the job.
Right. So anyway,
now in what was it, 1873? There was it like did it all kind of come to head with this Colonel guy?
Ah, yes.
Isn't that kind of how it was? Like he was there investigating his brother, or
Dr. William York, his brother.
That's it. Yeah.
But the good Dr. York, he went looking because he had a friend who had gone missing.
Oh, okay.
And that's what led him to the Bender house. And he started asking questions, and Kate was like, yeah, these are the kind of questions. Okay, these are the kind of questions that people are starting to get suspicious.
Right. Now, was it it was the doctor who got killed, and then the Colonel came looking for the doctor? And the Colonel was the guy who finally was the last one, or called?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, Dr. York, he was looking for his buddy, George Marshall. So he knew where his friend was traveling.
Right.
So he went around along the trail. He was stopping at every farmhouse, asking questions, until it led him to the Bender Tavern. And that's where, his line of questioning, the Benders were like, oh man.
They're onto
this
us.
guy is definitely onto us, and then they killed him.
Yeah.
But then that's when the Colonel showed up, and the Colonel was like, yo.
I think he came around the time that they held this meeting in the township. I think he kind of started like them questioning like what's happening. But yeah, after the Benders like fled their property, there was a search party that was formed to go to their property and find out what's going on. They got there. The cabin didn't have any food, any clothing. There was no personal possessions. And then they were also met by a terrible smell.
I have to interject.
Oh,
I am so sorry.
No, go ahead.
But, all right, so the good Dr. York, he had a brother, Colonel York, who went looking for him. Okay. Now, he ended up at the Bender's house. He stopped in, knocked on our door, started asking questions.
Right.
And he didn't like necessarily the vibe he was getting from Kate. Yeah. And Kate was like, come on in. Yeah, well, ask, see, like, tell me about this. Maybe we saw him. Come on in. And he was like, yeah, no, I think I'll stay out here. And as he was standing out there, like, avoiding going inside the house because he was just like, I'm not trusting this person at all, he saw his brother's saddle.
Oh, I missed that part. That's awesome.
Yeah. And he was like, all right, peace out. And he took off. He went back to town, and he got a bunch of men together.
A good old-fashioned
rifles, and they headed out. Now, I don't know how long it took to ride horseback to that town to get people.
Right.
But when they came back,
they were gone.
no benders.
Yeah. So they smelled something awful inside the cabin. And it was at that point they saw the trap door. It was nailed shut, so they were able to, like, pry it open or whatever, and they discovered the bottom of the cabin. They found a 6-foot deep hole, and it was filled with clotted blood, which was causing the terrible odor, but there were no bodies. And that's because that's where they dumped the bodies, killed them, and then they were buried then out, So they actually went, I don't know how this happens, but they physically moved the entire cabin to the side. Not really.
Well, not at first, but when they found that pit, they found Kate. They found her knife hidden in a clock in the wall, and some bloody hammers. And when they went outside, Colonel York was looking at the terrain. Now, he had 160 acres he bought, but he was looking at the terrain outside of the cabin. There was a lot of, like, fresh kind of mounds of dirt, and started looking a little suspicious. He had his dudes come out. They started poking around. A couple of them had, like, staffs.
Yeah.
Kind of like if you'd have a staff in D&D to poke around for traps so you could fall in them.
Yep.
And it was going into the soft ground, coming up with, like, chunks of body parts. They started digging up.
Nasty.
And finding bodies, and they did find his brother in one of those digs. As he, like, surveyed the land from a different point of view, he realized, like, oh, my God. I could see mounds everywhere. Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry. The story that I had read, they talked about moving the cabin first, and then they went out and then found Dr.
We're getting to the
York.
same
How would
place.
you move it? I mean, I guess it would take if you had a group of like 20 people or so. I guess you could just pick it up and move it.
Everybody's just do it. All right, time for some deadlifts.
They're like, oh, let's do this.
Jerry, come on! You haven't been doing enough squats. Come on, get that up.
Right. But yeah, the first corpse that they found was actually of Dr. York. They found his skull bludgeoned, his throat cut, and he was found buried head first with his feet barely covered. Right. So like
they killed him and just chucked him in there.
Yeah, pretty much. So the digging continued the next day, and they found 9 other bodies, plus numerous dismembered body parts. So the people believe that they killed officially 10 people, but unofficially they think they killed like over 20 people because they found like parts of them. But this burial site was christened Hell's Half Acre.
Wow.
So kind of like the things that happened after, they never found.
They never found the benders, did they?
No, they never found them.
So, but I guess they count it as like it was about 18 months of a killing spree they were on. That's how long when they set up the tavern and did this until Colonel York came and foiled their horrible, awful way of life. And I guess they vanished. Just being able to, the fact that they had to ride back to town and get.
They knew it was going to take like a day or two, a day to get back, round up people.
They were gone.
Yeah.
Now, I had read that people hadn't noticed they had left, and that somebody going by had seen the farm animals.
Yeah, they were unfed.
And that's how they noticed that they had left.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe that was also coincides with the time it took Colonel York to get
Right.
man. I don't know. And again, we're talking what this was like 1872.
Right.
Yeah.
So the things the way they've been written down and that we're reading today or watching on YouTube, things have changed a
Right.
bit. But yeah, but either way, they did escape. And there was a $2,000 reward put up by the state for him, and Colonel York tossed in 1,000 of his own money on that reward.
Yeah, and nobody ever took that reward because there was nobody knows where they went. Now, for all of these deaths, the Benders only gained about $4,600, plus 2 teams of horses and wagons, a pony, and a saddle. So, because some of these travelers were carrying nothing of value, it's widely speculated that the Benders actually killed simply for the bloody thrill of it.
Wow.
Possibly because there was one grave they dug up they found a little girl.
A little girl, yeah.
So that wouldn't go with that they're looking for single men with money.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, they're just sadistic a-holes.
Yeah.
Now, so you have the reward out there. Claims of sightings of them started popping up all over the country, but with no real captures. There was vigilantes that claimed posses that claimed to have tracked them down and captured them and shot them on sight, but no proof, no bodies to identify that it was really the Benders. Just were never caught. Now, in an L.A. Times article, 1912. In Los Angeles, California. This article said this guy said his elderly neighbor, weeks before she died, confessed to him that she was Kate Bender.
Wow.
Wow. That would be wild.
I know.
Yeah, that they eluded capture, and she went to California and was somebody's neighbor, and that guy had no clue
Right.
that you're living next to a member of the first serial killer family.
So how would that neighbor,
In American history.
once she confessed to him, how? I'm just wondering because there's no technology, and this happened in L.A. where these other things happen, like middle of the country. Okay, so would he have even known, or because that was somewhat 60 years later, 50 years later,
Yeah.
ish?
Yeah, it's possible.
The story
Stories
carried.
and- stories,
Maybe,
books.
yeah.
But would you believe?
I know.
Yeah.
If somebody
Would
was
you
like,
just assume
She's just saying that. Just
Yeah.
right. I'd be like, oh, sure, you're Kate Bender. Okay. But
now and right to this day, I guess there's nothing but a hole in the ground
yes.
because when this went down, people were coming to get souvenirs. People were taking so much to the little bits of souvenirs for themselves of the house or whatever.
Yep.
They essentially there was nothing left of the house.
There's nothing left. Yeah.
They're literally taking wood off the
They
wall.
literally would take
Wow.
Some of the bloody bricks, like they were taking those as well. Well,
Wow.
I don't know if they were actually bloody, but that's what they were saying.
if you remember from the Valeska Axmeyer house, one listener said he was there and took a brick,
right.
and he had bad luck.
It was infused with negative energy. Right. Wow. Holy moly. Now the Benders had it was basically a farm. So they had it wasn't just a shack in the middle of nowhere with
No, there was a barn also, and
okay.
a well, and what is that called when you have the horses?
A trough.
corral,
A corral. Thank
Stable?
you. Yeah, a corral.
something like that.
I'm just thinking that because there's not a whole lot of food around there. So I'm thinking that were they doing the same thing that the guy up on Eagle Ridge, was it Shambach?
Schaumbach. No, they were not cannibals.
No.
But
Yeah.
feeding the people to the
I
animals.
saw nothing like that.
Because they found parts, but if they had
No, they found
had-
all the. I feel like they found all the body. I don't think they were feeding.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Good. And then it got to me thinking about, okay, well, if Kate...
Well, what do I know? I wasn't there.
Yeah, exactly.
And I'm not a detective.
Tell
Yes,
us,
I don't know.
Mark, since you were there firsthand.
But I'm reminded of that TV show or HBO show. What was that? Deadwood. Where every time Swearinger would have someone killed, he'd give it to that dude down the street that would chuck it in his with the pigs, and the pigs would just
Eat it.
eat it.
Yeah.
They can do that. And it got me thinking about Kate, and I was thinking, well, she was known for being quote unquote psychic or hosting seances.
Right.
Could there have been something that she called forth, and her mother, because that was in the heart of the spirituality movement in the Old West? Could they have pulled something from the other side that there was only the four of them in this house in the middle of nowhere? There's nobody else around. That this demon or something came through and just got all four of them.
Oh, I see what you're saying. No, I was going to no, they were 100%, in my opinion, charlatans.
Oh, yeah.
Well, yeah, but they were killing people. They were killing
They
people.
didn't call, nothing. Well, I mean, you do enough evil, maybe evil will show up.
And there was enough negative energy there that I'm wondering now. You said it's the Hell's quarter mile or Hell's half mile. Half acre or whatever it was. I'm thinking to myself, I wouldn't mind seeing if there's any psychics that were there taking readings from the area or to see if there's any activity in that area from all these people who died there.
Well,
we'll say that for after the break.
Okay.
Yeah, we're going to take a break. We'll be right back.
Hey, Mark, we're almost out of Moses Family Jerky Snack Sticks.
That's because you keep eating them.
Paranormal Punchers, you must listen to me. We are you from 10 days in the future.
Wait, in 10 days we get to time travel?
Just listen. In 10 days, you run out of snack sticks. This sends Nash on a rampage, setting off a chain reaction, leading to the end of the world.
Me? I destroy the world?
There's no time to explain. Just order snack sticks now.
They have 3 great flavors: original, spicy, and teriyaki.
The portal is closing. We have to go. Order snack sticks. Save the world.
Is anyone curious how we learn to time travel in 10 days?
There's no time for that right now, Dave.
Right. We need to hit the road and stockpile snack sticks.
Roads? Where we're going, we don't need roads. Go to mfjerky.com and use promo code SpookyJerky15 to save 15% off your entire order. Moses Family Jerky Snack Sticks. The best snack to pack on your paranormal or normal adventure. Back.
Take 2.
Let's roll. Liz, you have some more facts.
I do. Do you want me to go over the hauntings that took place there?
Most definitely.
All right. So you had mentioned that pretty much like a decade or a couple days after,
A decade or a couple days after. Somewhere in there.
Somewhere in there. All that's left is like the hole, like where the cellar was. So like the cabin itself is gone. But they believe that the souls that have been murdered on this site, they still kind of wander about.
They've got to still be there.
Yes. So people have heard like moaning or wailing sounds. And then there have also been some reports of like a glowing apparition on the property. Yes. Some believe that Kate Bender actually has returned to the property and is doomed to roam the very land where she had committed so many atrocities.
Thank you, Sean Connery.
I know. Another legend says that Ma Bender is the ghost that haunts the property. So most likely it's the souls that were, I
was going to say the little
killed.
girl.
Yeah. And not the people that actually committed the murder. But yeah, so many believe that the trapped souls of these century-old ghosts continue to lurk the site today.
Yeah, I would imagine that would be exactly the case.
Mm-hmm.
Dave, what's this about Little House on the Prairie?
So one of the interesting things I found, Laura Ingalls Wilder, who you may know from Little House on the Prairie, So she had mentioned in books and in a speech that they lived near the Bender Inn and that they had actually stopped there.
What?
And that she was recounting stories of hearing about the murders, and that her father, Pa Ingalls, had joined into the vigilante hunts. And the interesting thing from this is that her exact quote, at such times, Pa always said in a strange tone of finality, "They will never be found." Mm-hmm. They were never found, and I later formed my own conclusions why. Which is kind of really dark, given if you've ever watched Little House on the Prairie,
Right.
you don't really think of Pa Ingalls as the
Was that like dialogue from the TV show?
No, that was in her speech and writings.
Yeah.
She gave a speech at a state fair, and so it's now there are people who debunk that, saying that she would have only been 4 at the time, and that the Ingalls had moved out of the area 2 years before the murders had happened. But who's to say again?
Yeah.
Yep.
But you always keep tabs on where you were,
Right.
For quite a while after that.
Or
when
if you have friends.
yeah, that's what I mean. You still have friends and contacts there that you keep in contact with.
Yep.
Right.
Huh. Wow.
All right. So Little House on the Prairie is based on someone's real
Yeah.
life?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's why I'm sitting here like so confused. Like, what are you talking about? Laura
Yeah.
Ingalls was like,
No, that she actually wrote the books.
Yeah.
So
well, I've never read them. Okay. But I remember.
Have you seen the show?
Yeah, I remember the only show I can remember watching was the Halloween special they had one time. There was a head that rolled down the basement stairs. That
What?
freaked me out as a kid.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's why I remember it.
Yeah.
Sweet. We had that bonding moment.
Yeah.
Anything else?
well, I just wanted to bring up the fact that
What if that was related to the murders?
Ooh, I don't know. We'll have to go back and watch that.
Little
Yeah.
chopped off head on the prairie.
that not all of the Benders were actually related to each other. So Ma and Pa, they actually were married, but Pa was like her 4th husband or whatever.
I saw somewhere that in her first marriage she had 12 kids.
Yes.
What the-
I know. She had a dozen children. I know. Kate was her like 5th, I
Yep.
believe.
5th daughter.
Yeah. Her first husband, he suddenly died. So who knows? And then all of her other husbands, they all died as well. Yeah.
I was on this one show I was watching. They talked that John Jr. and Kate had a very strange relationship. That they would see them sometimes acting more like husband and wife than brother and sister.
Yes, they weren't brother and sister. He was not related to them at
Okay.
all. I think sometimes they would pass as brother and sister. Like, I think that's what they were going as here in Kansas. But some said that he was her husband,
Right.
or maybe not even like married, but like I guess she would become, whenever she became pregnant with his kids, as soon as the baby was born, they would kill it.
Oh my God!
Yeah. That was the one thing that I saw about it. I was like, that's kind of crazy. But, and then, Kate, she was the 5th daughter. But.
So there's a whole mess of crazy going on in every way at this
absolutely.
house.
Yeah,
And it's as bad as murdering people walking by or coming by is. It seems like that was the least of the crazy things, because there were some serious crazy things that were happening there.
Oh, yeah.
Wow. Holy moly. Oh, my gosh. That's bonkers.
I know.
I don't know if you saw Pa Bender really couldn't speak. It was when he did try to talk, it wasn't English. No one knew what language it was. It was thought to be maybe German. Or,
That's what I thought I read. Yeah.
Hungarian, I think.
right. But it was more guttural. It was just grunts and growls.
Yeah.
And,
Like the old man in Hot Fuzz. The townsfolk guy who has the landmine in the shed out back. The police officer guy who was always not that guy, not the YARP guy, the old guy who was a cop, but he was always like, and somebody understood him. I'm thinking, listeners, do some homework, watch Hot Fuzz.
Yeah.
That's what he sounds like.
Yeah,
Right?
no, I think I'm not sure who was wanting to do the killing or if all of them wanted to.
Yeah.
But Kate was the one that pretty much kind of drew people in and gave them, some flirtation and
Well, they each had a piece to do in the whole murders.
Right.
She would draw him in. Paul would kill him. The half-wit John, he finish the job and then bury him. Where was Ma just kind of sitting back?
She's making stew.
She's just doing her thing.
I don't know.
Well, I actually saw that they thought that the women took turns slitting the throats after the hammer strike.
Oh, equal opportunity.
Yeah.
That's nice.
Okay.
That's nice. You want to teach skills that could get better throughout
Yeah.
time.
Really?
Practice makes perfect, I guess. I don't know.
Oh, I did see
Oh, my
that
God.
Ma Bender, she actually killed 3 of her elder kids.
Oh my god.
Oh, my
People
God.
are just
I know.
crazy.
So that they couldn't testify against her or something like that.
Jeez.
Wow.
Yeah. Who knows?
That's wow. Holy moly.
yeah.
I mean, geez, as much as I dislike my family sometimes, I wouldn't go that far. Oh, my gosh. Wow.
Is your wife listening to this
Not
episode?
that. I mean, like my brother and half-brother.
Is your brother? Are they listening?
No, they don't listen. They don't listen. It's okay. I think I'm
Why
sorry.
not? Tell them to get on.
Well, Wow, that's pretty extreme.
Yeah. I want to know how a family comes to this conclusion. Like, what's the family conversation where you feel comfortable enough saying, maybe we should murder the people that come to the
Right.
inn, and everyone agrees with you?
And,
And this is before Yelp, because Yelp would have totally ruined their plan.
well, I have a feeling that they were killing before they got to Kansas.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So that it wasn't like they got to Kansas and they were like, I'm bored. Let's kill people.
Right.
I feel like they were probably like, let's continue to kill people
Right.
now that we're here.
Like this is the way like Pa and Ma sat down and said, we're going to open a fake inn. This is how we're going to make our money, and we're going to be rich beyond our wildest dreams. And all we have to do is murder a bunch of people, lure them in, and murder them.
It's so fake, right? I mean, how would you go to an inn and there's a curtain separating where the rest of the family sleeps from what's supposed to be the tavern part?
Yeah, no.
It would definitely just look a little like,
Well,
I mean, on the one hand, that does sound weird, but I don't know what the
Life
life
was
on
like
the
in
prairie was like.
1872,
Yeah, I mean, that may
True.
have been normal. But I will say, going back to your Yelp comment, they did find bullet holes in the ceiling and walls from the inside out. So they think that some people actually tried to fight back,
Oh, okay.
but didn't make it.
didn't make it.
Ninja battles inside the inn.
Yeah.
Gunslingers.
Oh, whatever.
Because I'm thinking when you're with your Yelp comment, like, well, the people who would leave the bad Yelp reviews are dead. They can't do that.
No, they can't do that, yeah.
But yeah,
So they can, it'd still be like a 5-star in Yelp.
right. But I mean, if in the middle of the gun battle where they're trying to, save their lives, they stop to give the bad Yelp review.
Right.
That's what would do it.
They can live stream for
Right,
their Yelp
yeah.
review.
Yep.
Well, unfortunately, nobody was able to get the word out to do not stop here.
Right. Till it was too late. Wow. And they're out, took off in the world. Adios, muchachos.
Yep. There were some that believed that Ma and Kate left on like one train, and then Pa and John Jr. left on another train. And for many years after, if there was 2 women that were traveling together, they would get like picked up by the cops and questioned for hours. But
Actually, on this one show I watched, they did pick up 2 women. People thought they were Ma and Kate. The thing is, when they brought them back to Kansas to testify, half the people said yes. The other half said no, because it wasn't, not a lot of people knew what they looked like.
Right.
Because there wasn't a lot of survivors.
Right.
So there is a good chance that they actually did have them, but
Right.
because like people were like, I don't think it's them.
right.
Right. I only saw them once.
yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And
But I mean, if Ma was so hideously ugly,
I was going to say, they'd be like,
that's really
damn,
memorable.
I remember her. She was fugly.
But if John was like her 4th husband, I'm like, well,
She knew how to do the works. You know what I'm saying?
we'll leave it there.
She was good at farming and raising a homestead. I don't know. And all the other things.
Thank you, Drew, for an interesting topic. I learned about something I never knew about.
Yeah.
I know there's a couple movies that were made. I haven't checked those out yet, but I think I might out of curiosity.
Right.
Yeah. Anything else in the Bloody Benders? Otherwise, we're moving on.
I grew up with a guy named John Bender.
Weird.
Yeah. But I think it was Bender and not Bender.
So you're
It could be the same. Well, maybe that's as close as I get. That's as close as I get.
Oh, boy.
I think they needed to shave themselves naked
Oh.
and run around, and that would have helped them. Helped any onlookers coming into the inn. That's it. You take all the body hair, you pee on the outside, you're going to be
Is
good.
this your answer for everything?
It's going to be my new answer for just about everything.
Okay.
Yeah. How do you get ahead in life? Just ask Nash. He'll tell you.
Oh, boy.
So it's your next job interview.
That's right. Where do you see in your future? Well, it's funny you ask.
We are going to move on quickly, as fast as we can from that. We have 2 listener stories. They're both wicked interesting. We're going to start with Kevin, who sent us an actual voice message, so nobody has to speak, because Kevin's doing all the work. So, Kevin, thank you so much, and here we go.
Hey, everybody. Just wanted to go ahead and share a story with you real quick. Takes place about 8-10 years ago when my wife and I were still dating at the time. She just moved into a new apartment with some friends, and she mentioned that she wasn't easy there, didn't really feel comfortable, but I'm like, babe, it's a new place. Nobody's ever comfortable those first few days. Like, just it'll be okay. Just work through it. And there were a lot of little things. There was almost always a feeling of being watched, or that someone was there with you. And there was a trash can in the kitchen, and the lid would sway back and forth. But when there are 3 ladies living there, friends are over all the time. You also have a couple dogs with strong tails. You kind of figure, someone could have thrown something away. Dog could have hit it. It's not a big deal. Then, whatever was there ramped up its game a little bit. My wife and I were in her room. We were watching a documentary her friends didn't want to watch, which was fine. It's all good. And I take a second and I look out the window. It's just one of those like, I don't want to go to work tomorrow. It's all right, though, kind of moments. And I just hear this loud thud. So I turn around, and the top drawer from her dresser is now on the floor and upside down. So I'm thinking, great, the dog did something. The track broke, any line of rational thinking here. And I go over, I pick the drawer up, just the drawer, I leave the clothes, because if it's broken, I'm not going to load all that back in. I put the drawer back in, and I see if I can recreate it just flying out, and I can't. And the track is fine. Everything about this dresser set is fine. Like, that's weird. So then I just try and pull the drawer out. Completely empty, no weight, nothing. And there's a little bump in the track. So you pull it out, you hit that bump, you have to lift up slightly, pull it a little bit further, and then let the upwards pressure off. So you can actually get the drawer out. Going, well, that's just weird. We'll file that in the I don't know what happened category. But I talked to a buddy of mine, and he's like, no, I think something's going on. You got to go in. You got to, tell them it's not okay. Assert some dominance here. And this is where, in hindsight, I'm sure if Rhonda's listening, she's shaking her head. Because I go in, and, I'm maybe 21 at the time. I'm like, hey, you need to stop. You don't live here. If you don't stop, I'm going to get my friend in, and we're going to make you leave. So it gets quiet for a while. I'm like, all right, I did it. Then you fast forward to probably about late October. And I'm on my own personal quest here to check off horror movies. I've seen The Thing. I have seen The Shining, Friday the 13th, Nightmare on Elm Street. I'm checking off all the classics. So I go off and I rent The Exorcist. And my wife and I watch it in the living room of her apartment. And, you know, I have a blast. She hates horror movies. So after it was done, we got up, we walked to the kitchen and stretch our legs and just talk. So I'm facing into the kitchen. She's facing back out towards the living room. And during our little conversation, she just stops. And her jaw drops. She goes slightly pale. And I'm going, what is it? What's going on? Are you okay? What's happening? You know, I don't know. And she just points behind me. And I look, and just past the living room, there was a kind of a deck or a patio. And in front of it were vertical blinds. So like a standard blind, you pull the string, blind goes up, light comes in. With these, you have to turn a little knob or a rod, and then they go from closed to open. And I watched them turn 90 degrees from completely closed to completely open, stop, turn back to closed. I run over, try and check it out. I can't find any reason it would do this. But yeah, she never stayed there another night. Because I'm pretty sure that place was haunted. Anyway, thanks, guys. Have a great one. Bye.
Thanks, Kevin.
Wow.
Thanks for sharing that story. That was awesome. Yeah.
That's pretty wild.
Yeah.
You look over and you actually see it happening right in front of you right there.
Things were good for a while until he fired up The Exorcist.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
boy.
I did like that he came out early and said this is not okay. But then he also
That's
did
with Rhonda Del Baccio.
right. But he also now I don't know. He also had kind of a confrontational thing in there. He says, "I don't, you know, you need to get out of here," or kind of, or else, or
Yeah.
And that was that's what I don't know. That's what I was like. I don't know if it was the
You think being too confrontational? It seemed like it worked.
maybe it worked, but I don't know. I don't know if I. But
Like
and
they
it,
were just waiting in the shadows, like
Right.
waiting for something.
because they
to-
don't really follow time, though,
Yeah,
right?
true.
They don't really follow linear time like what we do. That's what I think.
So even if it stopped its shenanigans, it was always there watching, waiting. But when they played Exorcist, they're like, you know, this is a good time to
Right.
So it never went away.
It never went away. And for our point of view, from our reality, there was a span of time between the two. But from their reality, because they're not in our timeline, they never went away. They were like, oh, yeah, watch this. And because those two times don't really mesh up together, there was a span of time between the two when there was calm. I don't know. I don't know.
Or when he said knock it off,
Right?
it was like, interesting. Okay, let me chill here where you can't see me for a while because I'm curious how ballsy you think you are.
Right, exactly. And then just
And
ramps
it's
it up
like,
just a little bit.
Then you watch The Exorcist, like, I know you're a little on the edge right now.
Right.
'Cause the first time I watched The Exorcist, I was like, man, I don't feel good watching this movie. This thing is really making me on edge.
Right.
So yeah, it could put you in a mind frame where you're susceptible to, somebody ready to mess with you. Then you jump out of
Right.
your pants.
Yep, exactly. Exactly.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Thank you, Kevin. But also, I feel like we have a story from Indiana, Johnny. But it echoes Kevin's story,
Yeah.
in my opinion, a little bit. Alicia's going to read this one. Go ahead.
Okay. With your reactions this last week, I thought that you may like to hear the demon story. I had been living down in the area near Jasper for a few years. During that time, I started having some strange experiences. I lived by myself in a small community, and when I would sit up watching TV at night, I would get the feeling that there was something on the staircase watching me. I would turn and catch sight of a shadow in the corner of my eye. This started happening more often. I believe it was a spirit that stayed around in that county or region because I experienced all over that whole area. The community I lived in was in a separate county north of Jasper. I would drive home from town after dark, and as I crossed the river into the county I lived in, everything would seem to get noticeably darker all around me. Well, after a few years, the spirit seemed to latch onto me. I would be walking around at work and feel it following me. And when I turned to look behind me, I would catch the shadow in the corner of my eye again. I had a time when I was attacked by the spirit through a nightmare night terror. I woke up from it out of breath and sweating. It was causing me a lot of stress and anxiety, and it continued to seem to be amping up during the fall of 2015, especially after I started making plans to move out of the area. The only break I seemed to get from the spirit following was whenever I would leave the area to visit the town I was planning to move to. But as soon as I returned to the county, it was like the spirit was there waiting for me. One night in November, I was trying to relax after my workday. As I sat there, I caught movement in my right eye and turned to look at what it was. There was a shadow creature crawling across the wall near the ceiling on all four legs. I was too worn out at the moment to really react at all. I turned away, trying to ignore it, and started praying. At the end of that year, I moved away. When I moved, it did not follow me. But less than a year later, I had to go back down to that area for something. And as soon as I drive into that county, I could feel it was there waiting for me. I try to avoid going down there anymore for obvious reasons.
Whoa.
Yikes.
Wow. So could you imagine, like, this thing is attached to him. It wants to mess with him, but it only can do it in this one area. Mm-hmm. Like, when he's able to get out, it has to wait there.
Yeah.
Hoping that Johnny comes back.
Right.
I've never heard anything like that before, where it was kind of contained in one area.
Right.
I mean, like this is a county. Like, when he left for beautiful, better pastures, things were great. When he came back, it was like, been waiting, bro. Like out of Derry. So if you go to Derry, things are messed up.
Right.
You leave Derry, everything's good.
Did I hear that it was across a bridge to leave? Or did
The cross running water.
right. So, like, some sort of a, spell or curse or whatever is on that water, and the spirit can't cross it.
Maybe.
And that's why it's stuck.
It reminded me a little bit of just the shadow creature, the way he described it, crawling up the wall. If you guys remember, we talked to episodes ago, we talked to paranormal investigator Ted Wolf, and he talked about when he was out in his van, he could see on the monitors, because his crew was inside this house, he saw like a shadow figure crawling up the wall too, and disappeared into the cracks. And he just radioed his team and said, "Get out of there." So,
Yeah, that's crazy, man.
yeah, that would freak me out.
Yeah.
Was there, in the very beginning, was there any like mischief? What else was happening when the shadow creature was around? Was it just noticing it? And
Yeah, I think it was just he would see it in his
in the corner of his eye, in the peripheral.
Yeah. And he would see some, like, when he would go to look for it, he could see like a shadow or whatever, but I don't think anything, well, he's not saying in this story that
That's something
anything like it was being malicious or anything. It was just kind of following him.
Right. So when I'm listening to you read this story, I'm thinking to myself, it sounds like somebody was like pining away from him, like loved him but couldn't go with him.
Oh.
And waited for him to come back. And then whenever he came back to the area, was immediately drawn to him. I don't know. I took that as the shadow creature could have been anything, but could have been movement that he saw. But I thought of it when you were reading that, I took that as a loved one pining while somebody's away at war. And then they would
cause him a lot of stress and anxiety. He was having dreams,
night terrors and stuff like that. Like, it's just terrifying.
But that could be misunderstanding. I don't know. That was just an idea. That's just what came to mind when you were reading it, though.
So maybe nothing physical happened to him, but I feel like it was giving him like psychological problems. So
now Johnny has told us a lot of paranormal things in his life have happened. What if he is like a
little more sensitive to it?
Sensitive, a little more sensitive. This thing knows it, so it was feeding off of that,
Right.
Yeah.
Or attracted to that. You can see. I know you can see me. It was just.
But it couldn't leave because it had to stay where it was for whatever rule it has to follow.
Yeah.
But was waiting for him to come back, and it only comes around when he comes back into that area.
Yeah.
Then they end up connecting. I don't know.
I don't know.
That's wild.
Freaked me out.
Yeah, big time, big time.
Not a fan of Shadow Man.
Anything crawling on the wall, I'm not a fan of.
Yeah.
No.
All right. I wanted to let you guys know I was checking the laugh meter.
Yeah.
And we only laughed 20 minutes of that hour.
Oh, wow.
So
okay.
excellent job, everybody.
Nice,
I greatly
nice.
appreciate you
Nice.
dialing down.
I still feel like we could do better.
We can do better.
We could definitely have a more solemn thank you for coming and talking with us today.
Well, thank you, Johnny and Kevin, for sharing your stories. Thank you, Drew, for the topic idea. Thank you, everybody who listens and supports the show. You're amazing. We love you. You can learn more about us, paranormalpunchers.com. You can find links to all the other stuff we do. Any final thoughts for the wonderful people that listen to the show, Alicia?
I suppose if you need to stop in Kansas at a one-room cabin, you might want to look behind you.
Yeah.
Words of wisdom.
Yeah.
Or check the Yelp review.
Right.
Yeah, that's better.
Great place, but it's murder getting out of there.
Right.
Nashy big ray of sunshine. Any final thoughts for everybody?
Yeah, no, I would do the same thing. It's exactly the same thing. Check the Yelp reviews wherever you go. If it's off the beaten path, just take a little bit, ask around, see if anybody has any referrals for you before you dive in there. Have dinner, and you notice that there's a dude behind the curtain there with a hammer.
Right.
Just ask around.
Pay no attention to the man behind the
Yeah,
curtain.
don't mind him. Don't mind him. And it smells a little weird, but that's okay.
Dave?
I think your advice, what you said earlier applies of just follow Jason Bourne and you won't have to worry about inns in Kansas.
That's right.
Words to live by.
In the wise words of Matt Damon, Jason Bourne himself. Oh my God! If it's not weird,
It's not worth checking out.